Shalom and welcome to Practical Spirituality here in the old city of Jerusalem at Torah, overlooking the Western Wall. Really all there is God. None of this is real. This is a digital simulation that God projects into existence. All the people who believe this world's a simulation, they often don't take the God step. And the reason is because they figured this out on LSD. Now, the truth is that if you say it's a simulation, all you have to do is take one more logical step that perhaps if you're high out of your mind you wouldn't have taken, and that is that if it's a digital simulation, what's simulating it? What's causing the simulation? And then you're going to be at God real quick. I mean, there could be other options. It could be like some other higher technology, and you'd hear people talk about that, but then you're back to the people on LSD, where they're talking about, some other like galaxies projecting us. But that's ridiculous, because how would they possibly be arranging your life for you? I'm sure everyone in this room, raise your hand if you've noticed that things seem to be orchestrated around you. Raise your hand if you've noticed things get orchestrated around you. If you haven't noticed that, you're asleep. Okay? I mean, I get organized around other people. God is orchestrating me around others. Not always, but a lot. I get to the store, it's closed, I look at my watch, I'm like, why would you have thought this store would be open right now? Like, it's never been open this time. It's been closed for 2 hours. You've known this store for 20 years. And then I turn around and there's someone saying, I've been searching for you. I needed to talk to you today and I lost your number. And I'm like, I'm being orchestrated for you. I've been put in front of you. What do you need? And so things are getting orchestrated in incredible ways and all the time. And even to the point of, we think about when we're sitting on those big airplanes and the flight's delayed a little. That's not random. That's not random stuff going on. And don't get frustrated either, because you don't want a giant flying bucket of steel anywhere other than where it should be at any given time, nor a driving bucket of steel for that matter. So if I ask someone for a ride by the way, anyone listening to this, you can message me if you want to take me. But my flight, I usually come out of the airport at JFK. I fly every couple weeks. I have to fly this Thursday night. So I usually land on the LL flight at so I get out of the airport at like 6. So a lot of people are willing to pick me up. This particular flight, I'm not even asking. I'll only ask online. My flight arrives at 4:30, which puts me on the street at 5:30, which means Uber, basically. So I guess I'll be learning with an Uber driver all the way to Brooklyn. I have a bris in Brooklyn on Friday morning. But don't worry, those who are here to learn with me, I'll be back. I'm going to be back Monday, but I'll probably only teach Tuesday. So I'm going to be gone Sunday, Monday. Maybe I should tell Torah as well. I always tell them last. Anyway, but I've got to tell Torah as well. I'd appreciate a reminder. I've been seeing if you could just send me a little WhatsApp right now that I tell Torah. I should put my phone also on Do Not Disturb for this. Anyway, the world's a simulation, and the simulation is coming from a simulator who's orchestrating our entire lives. Standing room only right now, ladies, but we're really happy you're here. You might be a little warm in jackets. So you can pop it on their table. Ladies, you mind them putting their jacket down? So the simulation is coming from something. It doesn't come from nothing. Because what comes from nothing? Say it all together. Nothing. What comes from nothing? Say it all together. Nothing. What comes from nothing? Something. No. Nothing comes from nothing. Nothing comes from nothing. So obviously there must be something there that's there that's not made of anything, but it's some kind of consciousness that's causing simulation. Now, another cool thing about it is all your body is just an avatar. You're inside this giant hologram, which is a projected simulation. And we know this in physics. Everything's vibrational. Like, you think this is English right now? You think I'm speaking English to you? You're like, I think so. No, this is not English. This is vibrational waves. This is frequencies that are shooting through the air. All I'm doing is sending vibrational frequencies through the air. Maybe slide a little more. This lady should slide a little more towards Reuben over there. You're perfect now. No, you're better that way. Okay. Yeah, you're perfect now. You're perfectly flanking Michael. No. Yeah, I got Michael and your two faces right there. This is a holographic reality that's being sent into existence. The sound you're hearing is vibrational. We know that. I mean, every time you listen to music, you're just listening to ones and zeros that are sending, it's because we all listen to digital music today. It's just ones and zeros that send out of a speaker, whether it's your headphone or a car stereo or a home speaker or a Bluetooth speaker. All it's doing is sending sound waves. That's all it's doing. It's just sending vibrational energy. I remember hearing a jam band in college. We were hanging out in the courtyard of a Grateful Dead jam band in college. We were just in the courtyard while they were rehearsing. But the coolest thing came is two hummingbirds came and flew right over us and put themselves right by the screen. It was an open window. We were just being blasted by music. And two hummingbirds put themselves in the window, by the screen of where the band was playing. And they went exactly up and down on the actual sine waves of the music. And the music was changing tempo, and they were changing with it. They were just going with the sine waves. They connected to the tunes of the music. And I just had this experience. I mean, 30 years ago plus, I've been at Grateful Dead concerts where the band was playing certain things vibrationally that was causing the whole audience to start bawling. Yeah, it's New Year's Eve. There's no reason we should have been crying. We were at a concert to have fun. We had been dancing not more than a few minutes earlier. And now, I remember I'm bawling, and I don't know why I'm crying, but I just, when you're crying, it gets a little embarrassing, so you look at the people next to you, kind of like at a movie or something, and I look at the people next to me, I realize they're crying, and then I look back at the audience. I was on the floor near the stage, and I look back, people are like huddled and falling over each other, sobbing, in support groups. It was like crazy. I looked at the whole audience in the amphitheater. It was like 30,000 people in Oakland Coliseum. Everyone's sobbing. And then it wasn't more than like 5-10 minutes later that we were all jumping for joy. Now the set list of the band is half the band and half the crowd. Because what happens is the crowd decides collectively what song they want to hear next. And the band catches on sometimes. The band, not every time, but when they do, the crowd goes bananas. And if you've never been to a Grateful Dead concert, so you don't understand why everyone's cheering. Like, what happened? Because they're playing this song, not that good a song. In fact, none of their songs are really good songs. It was a purely live phenomenon that was going on there. And a vibrational exchange that was happening there that doesn't happen usually in modern concerts. Modern concerts, it just doesn't happen much because I don't know if you know this, but everything's on a click track because even the lighting's all computerized and it's on a click track. So it's not like this. So the guitarist, he can't play go another round on the solo. The crowd was so enjoying it. Hey, the band leader says, take it again. Going another round. He can't because the spotlight's going to go off of him. Because it's now back to the singer. And so spontaneities have been lost a lot. But the ultimate expression of vibrational, there's a better word for it, but connectivity were those concerts. And amazingly, just a few days ago before New Year's, there I was in Los Angeles just a week ago at the Grateful Dead.
Dead and Company?
Yeah. Whoa.
John Mayer, right?
Shocking with John Mayer, yeah. You went?
I did. Well, I went in Vegas, but yeah.
I saw them in Vegas several times. So first time with Santana opening, and the second time with Sting opening. Yeah, and anyway, but there I was last week at the Grateful Dead show, and who'd I go with? I went with my three other brothers, the four of us. We've gone to a lot of concerts. We grew up in LA, but we never went together. I think it was the first time the four of us went to a concert together. Here's the kicker. My 80-year-old mom was with us. And we were late to the concert a little bit because we were waiting for her to change, after Shabbos into whatever she was going to wear at night. She comes down in like beads and like frills, and we laughed. My 80-year-old mom comes down like a flower child from her bedroom, and she was great. I was doing all my Grateful Dead meditation dancing, which people were actually thanking me for, which was really weird. Like when I'd go up to go to the bathroom or whatever, I'd go up the auditorium. People were like pulling me aside, and they're like, "Thank you, Rabbi. I've been watching you dance. It's been amazing." I'm just like, what? Because I thought it was pretty dark there. But anyway, my mom was just kind of copying me from behind. She got the meditative dance. It's really amazing. Anyway, vibrations. This whole world is just a vibrational reality. Now, it's not by chance I'm discussing music because music has the strongest influence on us vibrationally. Have you ever noticed that? Do you notice music gets you every time? Anyone here seen the Swiss Alps? Swiss Alps? Yeah, a couple of you. Did it get you? It got you, right? But what about after 3 days? What was it like 3 days, 4 days later? Didn't quite get you anymore. Yeah, now you got to do like the Alpine slide or something. Like you had to add to it. Something had to happen that would make it. Have you ever noticed music doesn't have that? Music gets you every time. It always does. And the reason why is because the Swiss Alps happen at the speed of light. Why? Because you're seeing it. So your sight happens at the speed of light. It's pretty overwhelming. Certainly interesting the first day, and but it overwhelms your nervous system such that it's not really a connector. It's too much for us. The speed of sight. That's why you'll notice when you're doing spiritual stuff, you tend to close your eyes. People almost universally meditate with their eyes closed. And certainly when we mention God's oneness, we've got a double cover. We've got our eyes closed and our hand is covering our eyes when we're talking about the oneness of God. And we're generally making vocalizations which happen at the speed of sound. And music playing will draw your heart in and bring the emotions, and that those emotions connect you ultimately to, whatever the content is, which, can be about God or whatever's going on. Last night the content was being next to my friend Shmuel Simcha, Ben Devora, and brought me to tears. And today I was watching a little video about a kid who couldn't learn when he was a kid in Europe. He just couldn't learn, and his parents promised him this beautiful gold coin if he could learn one page of Talmud. It took him 2 years till he could finally get through the whole page of Talmud by heart. And anyway, the Nazis made their name be erased, took the family, and they all died. And he got through the war just by every difficult time. He had that page of Gemara. He had the page of Talmud in his head, and that's how he got through the greatest difficulties. And when he'd finally been when he'd been, what's the word I'm looking for? Liberated, and came to Israel, he was watching all the people who could learn, because he still couldn't learn. It took him 2 years just to memorize one page of Talmud. So he watched everyone else learning, and they were making the Siyum HaShas, the finishing of the whole Talmud. Happened several times, and he missed each one, obviously, because he only knows one page and he can't really learn, and he had to work very hard. And so every night before he went to bed, he would go through that same page. Anyway, when he had reached about 2,700 times that page, which is the amount of pages in the Talmud, there was another finishing of Shas, of the Talmud, and he was kind of moping around because everyone's getting all excited about the finishing of the Talmud on the 7-year cycle, and here he's done his page well over 2,700 times. And just as he's going through the streets on his way back from work, he sees the rabbi of the community who teaches the Talmud page, and he says, "What's wrong? You look so sad." And he explains it to him. And he said to this young man, an older man now, he said to him, "I want to trade with you. You're coming to the siyum. You're coming to the completion of the Talmud, and we're going to trade. You're going to give me the merit of your page, and I'm giving you the merit of the entire Talmud. And you're the one who's going to say the Kaddish. At the end of it, you'll say the Kaddish at the end for the whole thing. And this is on video with beautiful music playing in the background. A song was written for this story that happened, and I cried because we connect via music vibrationally. Now, the whole world is a simulation. It's being created by this being, something from nothing, and your body, that's the world. Your body is an avatar. Your body's an avatar. You know the term avatar? Avatar is like it's like kids who play these warfare games. Like what is that called? What's one of the famous warfare games they play? World of something. World of Warcraft. Yeah. Do you mind opening that window, please, just to get us some air in here? Oh, you know what? It could be the AC's on heat. Oh, it's off now? Because I think it was on heat. Yeah. Anyway, back to the World of Warcraft. When a kid's playing World of Warcraft, generally, what's going on with these kids, who are generally 38 years old with long hair on cannabis in their baby boy bedroom from their childhood, upstairs in their parents' home. Their parents can't seem to get them out. Anyway, but what are these boys doing? There's a boy playing the game with a joystick. I don't know what he's got. I've never seen anyone play these games, but I imagine they have special apparatus now that they touch to do it. And the boy's playing the game, but the character is always this like super powerful person. And I don't want to get into all the psychology of what's going on here, but I think it's pretty obvious to most people with even a basic understanding of human psychology that if you have a boy who's been rendered weak and worthless, probably by our society, not that we can blame society as a whole, but probably having to do with some kind of millennial effects. But you have a boy who feels weak and worthless, and then you look at his avatar online, where he's playing with thousands of other people who have this same issue going on. And I'd be interested to know, someone else, maybe you want to Google, what's the stats of, I don't know what you call that whole genre, but what's the stats of males over females? But I bet you that it's some 95% males in there with these big, violent, aggressive avatars. So that's an avatar. So your body that's present right now, listening to me right now, this body of yours is just an avatar. And who you are is this massive, massive conscious being that is not one-to-one like songs like Heart and Soul, It's not one heart, one soul. It's not a one-to-one like a vodka with a Red Bull. It's not a one-to-one here. We think in terms of the soul being one-to-one with us, but it's actually one, and it's not a number either. It's a soul. Souls don't have numbers. It's some kind of gigantic thing called soul. And it's made of, we know it's got 5 categories. It's called the Yechida, the Chaya, the Neshama, the Ruach, and the Nefesh. Each one of those has categories. It's something very, very big. And the only part of it that's touching into your brain, because your brain does report to it, the only part of it that touches into your brain is the very, very last bottom of it, meaning the very bottom of the nefesh, is the part that interfaces, like USB cables, with your brain. So your soul's hearing all this, which I hope is good for your soul. I hope it's good, and your soul's interfaced with, hopefully with prayer and Torah and other good things like that. And hopefully you're taking it easy on your soul. Have you ever thought about how society today, yeah, you got a number, what was it?
So 84% of World of Warcraft players are male and 60% are female. The average player age is 28, and
So what was the number of males again?
84%.
84%. Okay.
60%
Okay. Anyway, where was I at just now? I was moving to... Oh, is have mercy on your soul. We live in a generation that says that you should just abandon yourself to the media. Like, if it's on your screen, it's for you. We've been taught to abandon ourselves to the media. Like, let's say you're taking in a movie. You're on a flight, or you're in a theater, or you're watching Netflix, or whatever it is. I mean, you're sitting there basically saying that some cokehead in Hollywood, the content of that cokehead's mind is good enough for yours. Which is a really strange thing, because I think we're all pretty careful when we're in public. That, like, our bodies are ours, you know, like, I don't think you just let anyone come up and hug you, certainly not kiss you, you know. It's like you draw a line somewhere. I think you should draw the line more on your brain, meaning on the content of your mind is a better place to draw a line than your body. And your body, for other reasons, you should be drawing a line, not for this reason. But the fact is that your mind's a hell of a lot more important to draw lines of who gets in, right? Who gets in there, and you yourself, like you're pretty careful with your own information as well. I'm not, because I'm a public speaker, so I share a lot of information, because years ago I realized, like 20 years ago, maybe more, I realized that because I'm sharing information and I'm like every other human being that wants to be liked, so I might change the way I share information about myself based on the crowd. Well, after a while, I don't know who I am anymore, because what I've shared with that crowd might be totally different than that crowd, and that crowd, and that crowd. And after a while, I've basically manufactured a personality for public. But I can't keep track of it, because I don't know what I said to those people and what I said to those people. And then I got to remember, if I go back to that town, what I had said over there. And so I got to this dilemma, in like probably, I don't know how many years ago, maybe over 20 years ago. And I realized that I'm just going to be like brutally honest about myself when I speak publicly. And that way I'll sleep at night. And that way I can just speak wherever, to whomever. And you can like me or not. I've had people not like me. You know, I've been in places that are more like British. And I'm just speaking way too frankly about things you just don't say. Which really freaks them out, because I'm a rabbi. Because, like, you know, like they're thinking, oh, all the more so, he's going to be, you know, composed and postured and careful and not let too much out about himself. But they get quite the opposite, and then they don't like it. They don't like that. Now, anyway, but we're pretty careful. You're pretty careful with the information about you. You know, you're not just sending your resume out to everyone. And you're very careful what you put on there. But meanwhile, there's absolute maniacs who download into your brain every time you go on the media. And you seem to think that's just completely normal. And then you can't connect in prayer, and then you wonder why. And you come to the rabbi, I need help connecting in prayer. And it's like, what you need is a pipe cleaner. You know, you need a plumber to come through and root out what you've let in, so that you can connect in a more sensitive way. And you got to be more sensitive when it comes to God, because God's super subtle. You know, he's between the lines. You know, in our Torah, you can close it now. You know, our Torah has when you look at all the columns of Torah, it has black letters on white parchment. And if two of those letters touch each other, which could be very distinct letters, it could be a yud's touching a kuf, or a lamed's touching a hey, you know, they're not going to be, you can see which letter's which. But if the scribe accidentally, a little bit of the ink touched the other letter, what do we know about the whole Torah? That entire Torah? It's kosher or not kosher?
Not kosher.
Not kosher. You can't even read it. And once in a while, you'll be at a reading where they discover two letters are touching. They just fold it up, put the cover back on. They put the belt outside the cover so everyone knows that's the one that needs checking. It needs to be fixed. And that night, they're going to have to bring a scribe who's going to have to take a little razor blade and remove some of the skin there of the parchment.
They remove like the whole piece and then put a new one in?
It depends on the situation, but it could be something as simple as just slicing a little white back into it. Now, what's the big deal? Like, we see the different letters. What's the big deal? And the answer is that there is actually a white Torah. There's actually a white Torah. And the black lines are essential. And if two letters are touching, then the white Torah has been encroached upon by the letters. There's a white Torah. And when our rabbis tell us there's a white Torah, it's a lesson to all of us that there's another world. Meaning that when I say another world, meaning there's alternative realities beyond your wildest imaginations. And they're letting us know that with that. They're also letting us know that with the tefillin, which is also like super cosmic. But you'll notice there's a 3-arm shin and a 4-arm shin. There's an actual 4-arm shin on the other side. But what do you see in the negative space of these 4 fingers? What do you see there? What do you see in the negative space?
Shin.
Yeah, you see a shin there, right? That's the shin. It's a 3-arm shin in the negative space of the 4 arms. And so our sages are telling us that we're only being shown the very, very outer level of everything. And so therefore, this whole world is really a simulation. Now, what is the pinnacle of the whole simulation? What's the spitz, as they say in Yiddish? What's the spitz of the whole simulation? What's like the highest thing in the whole entire simulation? You know what the highest thing is? You. You're the highest thing. Ain't nothing higher than you. You're the only thing in the whole simulation created out of the same exact stuff that the simulation's created out of. I mean, I could show you how all 10 are somehow in this wood frame here. I could show you. It would take me an hour to explain it, but I could show you how it's all in there. But in you, it's really, really there. I mean, it's really there. You got the right brain, which is called Chachma, which is your associative mind. You got the left brain, which is called Bina, which is the analytical mind. You got Das, which is the decisive mind. You've got the right arm, which is Chesed. You've got the left arm, which is Gevura. You've got the chest region, the heart, which is Tiferes. You've got the right leg, which is Netzach. You got the left leg, which is Hod. You got the genital region, which is Yesod, and you've got the feet, which is Malchus. You are a walking avatar of the actual creation itself. You're the whole entire creation's in you. But the kicker of it all is that somehow God has placed inside of you this soul, which is made of this massive thing, which comes on down and on down and on down until it's, Yechida, Chaya, Neshama, Ruach, Nefesh, down, until the finest membrane. It'd be like the little, I don't know if you can see, you probably can't, but the little white on the edge of my fingernail. You know how your fingernails have that little white thing? So you have your Chaya, you have your Yechida, your Chaya, Neshama, coming down, your Ruach coming down, then your Nefesh coming down, and then that thin little membrane at the very bottom is what USB cable interfaces with your cerebral cortex, your avatar, that's made of the 10 spheros. It's made of the 10 beams that the whole world's made of. And what that tells you also is that you're pardon my French, but it means you're freaking crazy. Because you are so out of your integrity, it's ridiculous. You have no integrity. No integrity. And nor do I, for that matter. I'm in your situation. Maybe I'm a little better. I don't know. You have no integrity because you don't live like what I just said. You don't live that way. You're far from that. You have yourself abandoned to content that's just basically raping your soul. You have yourself looking in a mirror and seeing and thinking other things than how awesome you are. You have yourself like even though you're all pretending you're pressing the gas in your life, like you're going forward, but only you know that you've snuck your left foot around and it's on the brakes. You've been riding the brakes to make sure no one finds out how stupid or ugly or worthless or unwanted or unloved or whatever. You've been like playing this stupid game. So that's what I'm saying. You have no integrity. You have no integrity because what I'm saying you know intuitively is true about you as how awesome you are. You know that. And you've heard it a million times. You know, God doesn't create garbage. You know that. And you know you're made in his image. And it's not for nothing that it says that in Genesis. God knew what kind of world he was creating. And he knew that if you don't have at the foundation of it all, our connection to being amazing and part of the infinite, if humans didn't have that, they would just like kill themselves ultimately, which is what we're doing just in the installment plan. We're not jumping off the bridge, but we kill ourselves 100 times a day. We sabotage ourselves with that left foot sneaking around to the brakes while smiling. Yeah, I'm really motivated for this job. You know, well, meanwhile, like you weren't supposed to even have that job. The job you're supposed to have is like a million times beyond that job, and you know that. That's not a great example because the best example is how spiritual you are. In the true you, you're so spiritual. And so you might be wondering why I use the word integrity. Like I said, you have no integrity. Why did I use the word integrity? What's the word integrity come from? Integration. Right? Integration. So like if I hook my phone up to my home stereo, so the entire stereo integrates my phone. The amplifier plays for it, works for it. The equalizer works for it. The speaker wire works for it. The speakers work for it. It's like part of it. It integrates. It's got integrity. And so there's things you know deep down that are so not integrated in you. Which leads us to the question, why? Why are you so disintegrated? Why are you so disintegrated? And we're not going to talk about that right now, but I'll use it as a commercial. I'm running an event tonight at 9 p.m. for men in Nachlaot for a seminar I run called The Possible You, which works on integration. It's a seminar on becoming fully integrated. And then I'm flying out for Shabbos, to Shabbos Karatoni, but then I'll be back. And again, anyone listening to this, I need a ride at 5:30 in the morning at some airport. Anyone know where United flies in? Once you say "or," you don't know. I could tell you the "ors." I could tell you all the "ors" of New York. Anyway, listen. Anyway, but I'll be in Shabbos Karatoni, and then next Thursday I'm running another event for the seminar. But everyone should know, all the men at least, that on the 19th of this month, 19th of January, I'm running an English one, probably the last one of the year for men in English. Called The Possible You. And I love every Jew, whether he comes to the seminar or not, but it gets a little hard to take people seriously once they know that they have the chance to live integrated with how awesome they are. And then they still don't show up, or they tell me they can't afford it. And I'm looking at this guy like, you can't afford not to be there, bro. You understand, like what happens to you in your life when you live integrated is not describable, of where it takes you. And you'd laugh about the fact that you'd ever say you can't afford something, because that will never come out of your mouth again after the seminar, that you can't afford something. You just do things, and God affords them. And you vibrationally create things into your life once you're clean, vibrationally, obviously. Now, thank you very much, everybody. Please, if you watch this live, either click all the right things, follow, subscribe, share, and obviously please join the media club so we can keep this thing running smoothly around the world on the media level on all the platforms. Okay, YomTovMediaClub.com. Please join the club, YomTovMediaClub.com. Thank you. Shalom.